Coinbase just declared war on the White House. The 48-hour betrayal. Monday, January 12, 2026. Washington, D.C. is quiet. Inside the West Wing, the mood is celebratory. For the first time in history, the United States is hours away from passing the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. It is being called President Trump's bill, a legislative masterpiece designed to end the war between the SEC and the crypto industry. The White House crypto czar, David Sachs, is making final calls. The Senate Banking Committee Chair, Tim Scott, has the votes. Everything is set for a historic victory lap on Wednesday morning. But 3,000 miles away, in a high-security office in San Francisco, the mood is different. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong is reading a document that was never supposed to go public. It's a manager's amendment, a late-night edition pushed by a coalition of the most powerful banks in the world. It contains a kill switch for Coinbase's billion-dollar revenue stream. Armstrong has a choice. He can play the loyal partner and save the industry, or he can pull the rug out from under the president to save his company. On January 14th, just hours before the vote, Armstrong made his move. With a single thread on X, he didn't just walk away from the table, he flipped it over and set the room on fire. The White House was blindsided. The Trump administration is reportedly furious. And the crypto world has just entered a state of civil war. This wasn't just a policy disagreement. This was a tactical nuclear strike on the US government. And to see why Brian Armstrong just risked everything, we need to look at the $1.4 billion secret hidden on Coinbase's balance sheet. Section 1. The Mirage of the United Front. For years, we've been fed a specific narrative about Coinbase. They were the adults in the room. While FTX was running a global Ponzi scheme and Binance was dodging AML laws, Coinbase was playing by the rules. Brian Armstrong spent over $200 million fighting the SEC in court just to prove he wanted a clear framework. He built Stand with Crypto, a 2.7 million member army of voters. When the Trump administration took office in 2025, it looked like the ultimate partnership. The White House wanted to make America the crypto capital of the world. Coinbase wanted to be the infrastructure that powered it. But this partnership was a mirage. Most people believe Coinbase wants what's best for the crypto industry, that they want clarity so every small token and every DeFi dev can thrive. That belief is wrong. Coinbase doesn't want the industry's version of clarity. They want Coinbase's version of clarity. In the 48 hours leading up to January 14th, that distinction became an existential threat to the US banking system. While the public saw a united front, a Hydra of banking lobbyists was working in the shadows. They didn't want to kill the bill, they wanted to turn it into a weapon. And they found the exact pressure point that would force Brian Armstrong to commit the ultimate betrayal. Section 2. The $1.4 billion yield pivot. Look at Coinbase's revenue mix in 2020. 96% of their money came from trading fees. They were a simple middleman. If you bought Bitcoin, they took a cut. But by 2025, that business model was dying. Competition from Kraken, Robinhood, and decentralized exchanges crushed fee margins. To survive, Coinbase had to stop being an exchange and start being something else. They became a shadow bank. Today, their biggest growth engine isn't trading, it's subscription and services. Specifically, it's the interest they earn on your stablecoins. When you hold USDC on Coinbase, they aren't just letting it sit there. They invest those reserves into short-term US Treasuries, yielding roughly 5%. They then pass a portion of that back to you as rewards. This business is projected to generate $1.4 billion in pure, high-margin profit for Coinbase in 2025 alone. It is the bedrock of their stock price. And on Monday, January 12th, the traditional banking lobby realized they could use this to kill Coinbase's momentum. A coalition led by the American Bankers Association sent a letter to the Senate. They demanded a ban on stablecoin inducements. They argued that if Coinbase can pay 4% yield while a local bank can only pay 0.1%, the entire banking system will collapse. They called it regulatory arbitrage. By Tuesday afternoon, the banks got exactly what they wanted. The Senate draft was updated with provision that effectively banned Coinbase from paying rewards on stablecoins. The banking lobby didn't just poke the bear, they threatened to take its entire food supply. Section 3. The 48-hour ticking clock. Monday, 2 p.m. The manager's amendment is released to a select group of insiders. Inside Coinbase's legal war room, the silence is deafening. Chief Legal Officer Paul Greywall realizes the text is a disaster. It doesn't just ban yields, it subjects DeFi protocols to the Bank Secrecy Act. It creates a de facto ban on tokenized equities, making the CFTC, crypto's preferred regulator, subservient to the SEC. For any other company, this would be the start of a weeks-long negotiation. But Brian Armstrong doesn't do slow. Tuesday, 3 p.m., Coinbase launches a counter-offensive. They mobilize the Stand with Crypto army. Millions of notifications hit phones across America. Tell Congress to stop banks from killing crypto rewards. In Washington, senators are being flooded with calls. But the White House remains confident. They believe Armstrong is just posturing for a better deal. After all, this is President Trump's bill. No one in their right mind would rug pull the most pro-crypto president in history. Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. The Senate markup is just hours away. Brian Armstrong hits post. We'd rather have no bill than a bad bill. The impact was instantaneous. This wasn't a suggestion, it was a veto. By withdrawing support so publicly and so late, Armstrong stripped the Republican senators of their political cover. They couldn't vote for a pro-crypto bill that the biggest crypto company in America called bad. The markup was postponed indefinitely. The damage was done. And the crypto czar, David Sachs, was reportedly furious. Section 4. The $6 trillion nightmare. Why were the banks so desperate to kill this bill? It wasn't just about greed, it was about a $6 trillion fear. Traditional banks operate on what's called the spread. They pay you almost nothing for your deposits and lend you that money out for 7% interest. Stablecoins break that machine. They offer the lending rate directly to the consumer. Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan dropped a rhetorical bomb on an earnings call. He warned that if interest-bearing stablecoins go mainstream, $6 trillion could flee the banking system. That is 35% of all US commercial deposits. If that money leaves, banks can't fund mortgages. They can't fund small business loans. The housing market would freeze. The banking lobby successfully framed Coinbase not as an innovator, but as a threat to Main Street. They told senators that every dollar in USDC was a dollar taken from a farmer in South Carolina. It was a masterful guilt trip, and it worked. The banks forced a choice: protect the banks or protect Coinbase's 4% yield. The Senate chose the banks, but Brian Armstrong chose his balance sheet. Section 5. The Crypto Civil War. Usually, the crypto industry is a monolith. Everyone hates the SEC. Everyone wants Bitcoin at $100,000. But on the evening of January 14th, the monolith shattered. While Coinbase was celebrating the death of a bad bill, the rest of the industry was in shock. Ripple CEO Brian Armstrong publicly dissented. He called the bill a massive step forward. Kraken's Arjun Sethi warned that the US just lost its best chance at regulatory safety. Why the split? Because Ripple and Kraken don't have a $1.4 billion yield business to protect. They need the Clarity Act to stop the SEC from suing them into bankruptcy. They wanted imperfect clarity over perfect chaos. Coinbase, however, can afford to fight. They have billions in the bank. They have the best lawyers on earth. Critics are now accusing Armstrong of a sovereign betrayal. They claim he sacrificed the industry's long-term safety to protect his quarterly earnings. Administration insiders were even more blunt. This is President Trump's bill, not Brian Armstrong's. The tech elite just stood up to the populist executive, and the executive is looking for a way to hit back. Section 6. The Poison Pill. There is a darker theory circulating in Washington. Some analysts believe the banking lobby inserted poison pills on purpose. They added the DeFi privacy restrictions and the tokenized equity ban, knowing it would be a red line for Armstrong. They gave him a way to oppose the bill on moral grounds while protecting his financial interests. If Armstrong says, "I'm killing this to protect your privacy," he looks like a hero. If he says, "I'm killing this to protect my $1.4 billion yield," he looks like a corporate villain. The banks provided the perfect cover, but they also achieved their secondary goal: division. The crypto industry is now seen as fragmented and unreliable. They proved that the crypto capital of the world cannot be built if the biggest players are only looking out for themselves. As of mid-January 2026, the Clarity Act is in purgatory. Negotiations are happening in secret. Armstrong is trying to walk back the tension, calling the White House constructive. But the trust is gone. Section 7. The Final Price of Clarity. Brian Armstrong just protected a $1 billion revenue stream. In the short term, Coinbase won. Their stock stayed stable while the bill died. But in the long term, the price of this victory might be higher than anyone realizes. He didn't just kill a bill, he killed the industry's leverage. The Trump administration now knows that Coinbase will walk at the 11th hour. They know the industry is divided, and the banks now have a blueprint for how to stall crypto forever. This wasn't just a rug pull, it was a declaration of independence. Brian Armstrong just told the US government that he doesn't need their permission to run his empire. But in a world of sovereign states and billionaire egos, independence often comes with a target on your back. The war for the Clarity Act is over. But the war between Coinbase and the White House has only just begun.